Yes, hello, operator. Yeah, I was ringing on Oriole 1392. Operator? Oh, this Mercury retrograde, it's a killer, isn't it? And it goes on for another week. So, we're gonna have some confusion this week. Actually, if we look at the period of time between late May and the very end of June, it's a very confusing period of time. There's just no two ways about it. And what we're really getting now, as we enter into the week that begins on June 13th, 2021, is a very confused period of time. Now, we're still within the general neighborhood of the eclipses, which tend to make things bigger and bigger, more intense than they otherwise would be. I always say about eclipses that they show you what's important, but they do it out of proportion. Um, so we're still jangling from that, although we are pulling away from them a little bit, and hopefully over the course of this week we'll feel a little bit less of that intensity, while there's other things that are going to be taking over in their place. So let's give a quick rundown of what's happening this week. We start with the Sun square to Neptune on Sunday the 13th. And this is an aspect that's going to get charged up occasionally during the week, especially right around midweek, right around Wednesday, Thursday. It's going to be reignited by the Virgo moon. Now, this aspect tends to make heroes and demons out of ordinary folk. It's very, very hard to sort of keep proportion. Again, it's a proportion issue, that Neptunian fisheye mirror. And so people are liable to look, and it is the Sun square Neptune, so people are likely to look much better or much worse than they otherwise might. You can really sort of project this onto others. In fact, because it's a square, you may do this to yourself. You may see yourself as so much better or so much worse than you otherwise would. In fact, since the Sun is in Gemini, all of these possibilities are in the mix. You can do both. You can see others as better and worse. You can see yourself as better and worse. There's the twins. It goes a lot of different ways. So we have this energy, which is very unclear Neptunian energy. Then we have another big aspect right on tap, but I'm going to skip ahead a little. We do have the first quarter moon in Virgo on Wednesday, Thursday, starts latest hours of Tuesday, and this aspect is good for pushing things forward. It's a waxing first quarter moon, but it does square the Sun and Neptune, and so again, a detail. This is like a Princess and the Pea type of thing. A detail can get blown out of proportion. Virgo moon, great for focusing your attention. Square to Neptune, opposite Neptune, and square to the Sun, again, a little thing can become a big thing, mountain out of a molehill type of situation. You're just about ready for something to go, and oops, you find something a little bit wrong with it, and you go back to fix it, and when you go back to fix it, you know how that is. You start unraveling things a bit. Now, the next big thing, bookending the week, is Jupiter's station to retrograde on Saturday. Now, Jupiter stations fill us with hope and optimism and a sense of can do, which is great. It's the leap of faith. It's not the look before you leap. It's the leap of faith. And, hopefully it's good, except for the fact that we're working on mercurial misinformation and some of that Sun-Neptune stuff and the intensity of the eclipses. So it's a little hard to say. We're also getting very close to Mercury's station to go direct, which happens on the 22nd, and right after that is Neptune's station to retrograde, but we'll talk about them next week. Again, it's a very confused kind of energy, and I'm not saying that you should avoid your obligations. You should never really avoid your obligations, should you? But, I wouldn't start any new obligations, and I would try to avoid making major decisions during this period of time. It's just not a very clear kind of energy, and you may be working on misinformation, and that's not a good thing, is it? The other big aspect that is happening, it would be a great time to just go to the beach or something like that. Just, go for a walk someplace, chill, You know me. Just listen to music, get lost in a fantasy, you know, binge watch TV if that's if that's all you can do. It's still that, read a book, reread a book because Mercury's retrograde. It's just a good time to kind of chill out, meditate. Not the best energy for pushing forward, even though it is the waxing moon. Mixed messages? Yeah, that's what we would expect. We would expect mixed messages with all of this Gemini, Mercurial, Sagittarian kind of energy. We get mixed messages. But basically speaking, take care of what you got to take care of. But other than that, kind of chill a bit. So the other big aspect that is happening this week is it's the aspect of the year. It's the one that astrologers are all excited about, and that's Saturn in Aquarius square to Neptune, square to Uranus in Taurus, and that happens on Monday. So this aspect is very powerful, most likely to affect us in the collective sense. And of course, everything else is also affecting us in the whole nodes, the polarization, information versus beliefs. Are beliefs informed by information, or is the information informed by beliefs? All of that kind of stuff. This particular aspect pushes us farther to the extremes. I say it all the time. It seems impossible to get pushed farther to the extremes, but it kind of is that sort of energy that can push us further away. There is Saturn in Aquarius, very principled energy, and Uranus in Taurus. It's Uranus. It's just a very erratic sort of vibe. We'll see extremes from both the left and the right, and there's of course always that positioning. It's obvious that there's a lot of misinformation around. Everybody's disposed to think that the other crew is the one that is providing the misinformation, but at the extremes, I think everybody is a little off the rails when it comes to that. So that's all collective stuff. You'll see that in the news and so on. Maybe some big announcements and stuff. There's certainly potential for big announcements given what's happening. I guess there always are, though. In our personal lives, this is a less dramatic aspect. It's less dramatic this week. If it hits your chart strongly, it might be a little bit more dramatic if you've got something right out in the neighborhood of these planets. But otherwise, the one thing that I could say that it would do for many of us in a subtle sort of way and triggering individually is a kind of career edginess, that sort of desire to make changes in career, the idea that where you're getting your money, what you're doing, what your reputation is, just how you're managing your work life is, you'd like to throw in some changes. You'd like to manage that a little bit. You'd like to, quit your job and run away or something like that. Again, it's not really very strong for very many people with that specific sort of thing, but maybe there's a little bit of that feel going through. And again, who doesn't want to quit their job and go to the beach? Now, we'll talk about other stuff next week when we deal with Mercury station to go direct, Neptune station to retrograde, and the solstice, for most of us, the summer solstice. If you're in Australia, I apologize, but you know how it is. So we'll talk about that next week. Have fun on the weekend. The Jupiter station, notwithstanding anything else, it may be a little bit too much look before you leap type of thing, but it's a fun energy. And with the moon in Libra coming into that, it's good. And the moon in Scorpio, yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. It's trine to Jupiter. So have a good weekend, and I'll see you sometime next Sunday or something like that.